Rain lashed against the taxi windows, blurring the desolate moorland into an abstract watercolor of greys and greens. Thomas, clutching a worn leather suitcase, shivered. The driver, eyes fixed on the road, muttered, "Bleak place? You sure about this, lad?" Thomas, hesitant, simply nodded. The old manor loomed, a silhouette against the stormy sky. Gargoyles perched on its parapets, their expressions lost in the shadows. The iron gates groaned open as if disturbed from slumber. The taxi lurched up the drive, crunching on gravel. Each turn of the wheels brought Thomas closer to a past he barely remembered, a past whispered about in hushed tones. The driver deposited Thomas and his meager belongings at the foot of the steps. "Good luck," he mumbled before disappearing back down the drive, his taillights vanishing into the deluge. The manor's interior was a labyrinth of dark wood and dusty portraits with eyes that seemed to follow Thomas's every move. Cobwebs clung to the ornate chandeliers, casting long, spidery shadows across the walls. A fire crackled in the hearth, casting flickering light that danced with the shadows, creating the illusion of movement. The smell of damp stone and mildew hung heavy in the air, punctuated by the occasional whiff of something sweet and cloying. A sudden gust of wind slammed a window shut, the sound echoing like a scream in the silence. Thomas jumped, his heart pounding. He explored cautiously, each creaking floorboard and rustling curtain sending shivers down his spine. He discovered a library, its shelves lined with leather-bound volumes. As he ran his fingers along their spines, he thought he heard a whisper, soft as breath against his ear, "Turn back, while you still can." Night descended, shrouding the manor in an oppressive darkness. Thunder rattled the windows, providing the only respite from the unnerving silence. Unable to sleep, Thomas found himself drawn back to the library. He lit a candle, the flame casting dancing shadows on the walls. He reached for a book, its title obscured by the gloom. As his fingers brushed the leather, a cold spot bloomed in the air beside him. He turned, his breath catching in his throat. A figure stood there, shrouded in shadow, its eyes glowing with an eerie light. It was a woman, her features ethereal and melancholic. Her voice, a soft, mournful sigh, seemed to seep from the walls themselves. "You've come back to me?" Terror rooted Thomas to the spot. He wanted to scream, to run, but his limbs refused to obey. The woman glided closer, her form shimmering like heat haze. He recognized her now, the resemblance to the portrait above the fireplace undeniable. "Do you not recognize your own blood?" she whispered, her voice laced with sorrow. She was his great-grandmother, bound to the manor, forever seeking release. And Thomas, the last of his line, held the key. With a touch, she drew forth the memories buried deep within him, the pact made generations ago. A life for a life. He understood. He had always understood. As the first rays of dawn pierced the darkness, the manor stood silent. The storm had passed, leaving behind an eerie calm. The last guest was gone, his fate sealed with a promise kept.